Hi everyone, welcome back to Coffee, Books, and Rain, where we do have a bit of a messy day out there today. We have some weather that has gone. I think when I woke up this morning it was about 50 degrees, and now it's been, that was the highest it's been all day. It is like 438 right now. It is really getting chilly out there. And we have books, and you can see maybe I have coffee, and I had to go heat it up a little bit and add a little more just to make sure I was staying cozy. But we are reading John Scalzi's When the Moon Hits Your Eye, which was hilarious. It's dumb, but it's hilarious, and I love it so much. It is absolutely a just ridiculous book. Absurd in all the best ways. Please understand that this is just a. It's like a joke, but in a literary form. And I guess growing up, there was always this, like, not this thought, but I guess it's a joke again that the moon is made of cheese. And I don't know where that idea came from, but that's what this book focuses on. So it says, from the New York Times bestselling author of Starter Villain, which I have right here. Hang on just a second. I have it. Starter Villain, which I got as Barnes & Noble's monthly pick. Also got it buy one, get one half. I don't remember what I got as the secondary one, but best-selling author of Starter Villain comes an entirely serious take on a distinctly unserious subject. Yeah. What would really happen if suddenly the moon were replaced by a giant wheel of cheese? It's a whole new moon. One day soon, suddenly and without explanation, the moon as we know it is replaced with an orb of cheese with the exact same mass. Through the lens of an entire lunar cycle, from new moon to a spectacular and possibly final solar eclipse, we follow characters, school kids and scientists, billionaires, workers, preachers, and politicians as they confront the strange new world they live in and the absurd, impossible moon that now hangs above all their lives. This book is hilariously dumb in all of the greatest ways. Hang on, let me put this one back. Well, kind of messed it up. It's all right. We're going to move on. Now, this book is approximately 336 pages in hardcover. I only had the ebook, so take it as you will. I want to say that when I jotted down how many pages it was like 276, but that might have just been in my e-version. Again, I sometimes have the text a little smaller, so it tends to go pretty fast. But it does release March 25th of 2025. Now, let's go ahead and say that you don't like satire or humor or anything like that. And I will tell you, if you don't like any of that stuff, if you don't like being campy, if you don't like being dumb, and if you take everything just a little too seriously, do not read this book. It will not be for you. This book is completely unserious, and that's why I liked it. I had just read one book that was kind of an intense, sort of dramatic sort of thing, and then one that had ghosts and stuff, but also still pretty intense. This one was the next up on my list, and it was a riot. I think I was literally sitting reading and kind of just snorting at some of the stupid stuff that's inside of it. And I want y'all to know, when I say stupid stuff, it is in the most endearing way, because John Scalzi is really an author that I love to gravitate towards. I really enjoy his writings. Now, sometimes he does sci-fi space epics, like The Old Man's War, or I think there's another series which is like what is the Emperor series? There's like 3 books in that series, but I really like those too. It's kind of it's a little more sci-fi, but still kind of spacey epics. And then he does stuff that is literally satirical, campy sci-fi stuff. And that's what we get in this particular book. And so throughout the book, from the day one that things seem to go down, nobody's really like, they're like, what in the world is going on? Science is turned on its head. Launches have to be scrubbed because we can't go to the moon now, because of course now the moon is cheese, so we can't plan another lunar landing. All this sort of stuff. Like, everybody is kind of up in arms. Then there are billionaires out there who are like, well, if the moon is made of cheese, I want to be the first person who eats moon cheese. Um, they want to eat pieces of the moon, but they want to be the first person that eats a piece of the moon. And just dumb, but that's exactly what, like, billionaires with way too much money would want to do. They would want to frivolously throw away their money, like the amount of a very expensive Ferrari, to eat a grilled cheese sandwich made of moon cheese. So, it is completely made up. It's just all these different scenarios of what different aspects of society, how they would react to this situation going down. So again, we kind of start at kind of like a space and rocket center. And I do live in Huntsville, Alabama, where we have, NASA as a fairly big footprint in our economy. And, but Huntsville doesn't seem to be on their page. That's totally fine. They can go to the Johnson Space Center, or they can go to the Neil Armstrong Center. They can go to all of those places. But I think we start off at the Neil Armstrong Space Center, and one of the pieces that they have in glass, somebody's like, does that look weird to you? And they're like, yeah, like, what happened to it? And they're like, I don't know. So they go back and look on the camera, and they realize from one moment to the next that the item that has been held inside this lucite containment has changed. And so they have to start investigating, because now they start calling other sciencey people and space people to find out if their moon rocks have changed in consistency. And finally they determine pretty quickly, and I might say, that the moon rocks that have been collected and are scattered around the Earth have all turned into cheese. But as that is happening, kind of in a very parallel sort of way, somebody looks outside and notices the moon is incredibly bright, brighter than it should be. It's also bigger than it should be in this outer space. Doesn't quite look right. And somebody's like, man, didn't we just have a new moon last night? Like, we shouldn't see the moon tonight. Like, it should still be waxing or waning, If it was a new moon last night, then I guess it's growing back tonight. But all of a sudden we have just like this big wheel of cheese where the moon should be. And so there was supposed to be a lunar launch, but that's had to be scrubbed, because now how are you supposed to land on the moon when you've had all of these diagrams and things planned out? You know exactly how far it is and what the density is when you land and blah, 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 blah. And now we don't know because it's cheese. We just don't know. So, the science behind it is, of course, not sciencey. It is incredibly loose, and that is totally fine. I think if you're going to talk about the subject of turning the moon to cheese, everything else is out the window and you can make it all up. It's totally fine. I have no issues with that. And there is an afterword that's in, that Scalzi said that he kind of does take the science loosey-goosey, and quote-unquote loosey-goosey, because I think you should. If you're writing it from that perspective, then why be overly scientific about it? I think there are characters in the book who try to think overly scientific-y thoughts about it, but I think that's also what would happen too when, if something weird like that happened. If the moon turned to cheese, in real life, our tides, our in and out of the tides would be absolutely messed up. Like, there's no way that we would be able to like have the same tide in and out system if our moon is made of cheese. I just don't think the gravitational pull, I don't care if the mass is the same, I don't think the gravitational pull is going to be the same. And they're having like little cheese volcanoes on the moon as well, which is hilarious. Again, you have a billionaire CEO who he's very invested in like lunar launches. And so he decides, well, they're supposed to launch something, and he gets into the launch thing instead. So now he's rocketed himself out there instead of like this robot that was supposed to go, which that's a whole thing. I don't think we should trust these billionaires to do smart things. We have cheese shop owners who are now seeing triple the sales that they were seeing because, of course, weirdly, everybody wants cheese now. So bring your Lactaid. If you have any sort of dairy limitations, maybe some Lactaid will help you because, you know, when the moon's cheese, anything can happen. And it's just overall wild, just wild in all of their really, really funny ways. Again, I had a great time. I give it a 4.5 stars in my honest opinion because when Scalzi writes these types of books, I know that I'm just here for a good time. I'm not here to learn anything. I am here to read about the insanity of just general population, especially when it comes to just any sort of wild situation. You got his trademark humor, and honestly, that's just it. Like, I don't really think I have just a ton more that I need to really tell you about this book because it's ridiculous. It's funny. It's silly. And I don't know. I just enjoyed the heck out of it. I really did. If the world ended because the moon turned into cheese, well, I guess we deserved it. You know, you see the memes online about like dumpster fires, or if it's a little dog that's like in this room that's burning. It's like, this is fine. Everything's fine. You know, if the moon turns to cheese and we all get like, you know, something happens because the earth can't hold us anymore, that's fine. I like these what if sort of concepts that Scalzi has. You know, this is why I keep reading about it or reading his stuff. So, if you're looking for humor, if you're looking for wit, if you're looking for dumb inanity, then this may be the book you need to pick up because some of his books do have slightly serious tones. This one does not. Again, very tongue-in-cheek. Now, there are a couple of moments that can feel a little serious. Maybe some that even feel a little more on the nose when it comes to referencing different things in the current climate, just general atmosphere. I personally don't mind. I really don't mind. I think a writer has the ability to... They have some sort of, like, poetic license, literary license to kind of talk about society in their own literary way. And I think that's what I've got to say about this book. So please, on March 25th, if you are at your local bookstore, I hope this book is available for you to pick up. If you don't feel like this is the right one that you need to start with, maybe start with Starter Villain because it's got some talking cats in there, and so that's pretty great. Also talks about this guy who he inherits his uncle's villainous organization. So that's what Starter Villain is about. And he's not a villainous guy. He's like, I don't know how to be a bad guy. He's like, you can learn it. It's fine. You don't really have to be a bad guy. You really don't. Like, you just have to be a little cutthroat. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and stop there. And I hope that you guys had a good time listening about this book and considering whether it's something that you're going to go out there and read. I hope you do because it's worth it. It's worth it. In my personal thoughts, I had a good time. I also have on my shelf, I think it's like Kaiju Preservation Society. I still need to read that one because it's like every time I get around to like finding a break in the books that I have lined up, something else comes along. So definitely need to make time for Kaiju Preservation Society. And I'm going to go ahead and let you guys go. If you haven't liked and subscribed, I hope you will. Or maybe give me a thumbs up or just something to let me know that you are sticking around. I want to thank you for joining me on this journey, and I will see you guys on the next page. Have a great one.